It's been a long and awaited situation with these two guests. They've been going at each other week after week, but let's get it in. Let's get it on. Let's bring them up. And that's the one to add to the scene. J rated R. What's going on, bro? How you doing?
I'm good, like they said to me, like, listen, we need you to talk to this person. I said, listen, you know what? I'll do it this one time for you. You know what I mean? Just like I'll try and talk some sense into him. It's just back to back after last night, so I don't normally do the back to back. So yesterday's show was fun. I'm sure today's show will be fun. Yep,
Bring it
looking
on.
forward
Bring it
to it.
on. All right, say less. All right, let's bring on the next guest in this versus show. And it goes by the name of Stefan.
What's up, guys? No,
Oh man, he gets the fireworks, yeah.
hey, Jay, I'm the main event, so it's
Whoa.
it's
Whoa.
normal.
Ready?
But no, but like we've been going at each other in the WhatsApp chat. We pretty much don't agree on 99% of things related to football. So yeah, we just let's make it a show and
Yeah,
see
let's
how
do
it
it, man.
goes.
Let's do it. Without further ado, man. Before we go any further, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. But yeah, we want to talk about Tottenham. Obviously, we just won on the weekend against Manchester United. And the question at the moment is, was it Man United that were good, or was Spurs that good? And I'll start with Jay. Jay, what was it?
I mean, personally, it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. But the way I look at it is when Liverpool beat United 3-0, it was a testament to what a good side they were, what they've been doing. Slot was lauded for it. Now, I'm not trying to say that I need the praise, but I need the acknowledgement of a good performance rather than saying, "Hey, like United are bad," because they were bad, but also by the same token, United didn't give up stats and figures like they gave up to Spurs in any other game this season. You can add together the chances and opportunities they gave up versus Brighton and Liverpool, and it still wouldn't add up to what Tottenham did against them. So to reduce it to United were bad, I think is a little redundant, and it doesn't really appreciate how well Spurs played against them.
So what you're basically saying that Spurs, when it comes to United, we actually outperformed both, not Brighton. Brighton, obviously, we're going to play. And I'm
Yeah.
sure Stefan's got views on Brighton, whether Brighton's better than Spurs. We'll get into that later.
I know,
Um,
man.
but you're also saying Liverpool as well with Slot. So
Yeah.
what would you like to say with that, Stefan? Do you think?
No,
Um,
I completely agree with Jade that the Liverpool win was lauded to like some incredible, just incredible performance, which I didn't think it was. In the group, I've had arguments with Preach. I think similarly. Do Spurs get more negative heat from the press than Liverpool? Yeah. Has Slot been kind of the media darling this season? I would say so because in that Liverpool game, JJ has the right. Man United could have easily scored, I would say, one or two goals, and Xerxes should have finished. But going to the Spurs game, I think context is really important. Man United were terrible in the first half, but then they got a red card, which shows that it was a disgrace of a decision because they overturned it to today. So Bruno is, has no suspension, and when you play against 10 men the way Man United played with 11, Spurs took advantage, but Man United are horrendous. Spurs did play well, but Man United allowed them to play well. I mean,
so
Van de
you're
Ven's
saying it's a
run.
full storm, basically. You're kind of
For me, it's a bit of both, Ash. But I mean, the first goal to allow Van de Ven to run a 100-meter sprint almost through the pitch, that's a disgrace. That was almost as bad as I think you guys played Everton. He he
yeah.
he,
It
he
was.
did a very similar run, and every Spurs fans will tell you Everton was one of the worst teams that they have watched in a long time come to Spurs. So the way he did that, although it was a great run, I mean, these are seasoned players out there that left him. Delo, De Ligt, they all just watched him. So yeah, I just, Spurs fans, it's not you, Ash, but they get ahead of themselves always after one win. You get the compilations and the comparisons. Van de Ven is the best center back in the league now, and Kulusevski's amazing all of a sudden, and all of these like overtakes or whatever. But it's fine. I'm used to it. Kind of like last season when Basuma played 9 or 10 good games. He was better than Declan Rice or Thomas Partey. So it's just, yeah, it's just your fan base. I
I
I don't
mean,
get.
I wouldn't talk about fan bases. Like let's be fair about something. Spurs aren't really allowed to enjoy anything because as soon as we get a win, immediately after it's, well, you're not very good. You never win anything. It's like, Ash, you know what I mean? Sometimes we just want to just enjoy a victory. Not even trying to say we're a great side or anything like that. But Stefan has said some stuff about and our style of play.
Yeah,
And I feel like I'd like to hear it on a grander stage, Stefan, because you don't rate us well, and I, and I
I
feel
really
you're gonna
don't.
I feel you're gonna temper it a little bit. You might not because
No, no,
you don't you
temperate.
don't
No,
rate
I
us.
just
You don't rate us, but you rate Brighton.
no, I rate the way Brighton play in Brighton's system far more than you.
Why?
And because I'll tell you, Jay, because every single game is a hypothetical with Spurs, which is you could have won that game or you could have lost that game. There's no game where you're fully in control. Like, I just want to big up Arsenal against PSG. That game, the moment Arsenal scored at 2-0, you could even see it from the PSG players. There was no doubt Arsenal were going to win this game. They were complete. They were playing it like second or third. Man City do that. Liverpool, when they were at their best, although they would score 4 or 5, there was never with Spurs. Jay, even in the Man United game at 1-0 with 11 men. I know you guys had chances, but Garnacho and Xerxes had the best chance at 1-0 of any of both teams. He should have scored that. That was the
Wait, in what you think
from
this is?
from
How
it
was
looked
how, was-
great
how was
from
the Xerxes chance a better chance than the Madison chance?
the, the Xerxes. The goal was literally he had the whole goal to the left
Madison's was a
side
one-on-one.
gaping for him.
Madison's was a one-on-one.
Yeah, but Madison's was a one-on-one, but he had to dink it over the keeper. The
But it,
angle was
it, it
much
was still
was much.
okay.
In my okay, this is my in my opinion. Xerxes one was far easier to finish than Madison's because the keeper was
What
already.
about what about what about Timo Werner's
What was no
when
no
when
that
he
was
ran half the pitch and was one-on-one with the
wait
keeper
that was
in the first
after
half?
that was after the Xerxes chance or the Garnacho volley, which was again a basic cross which your
But
defense fell
again, but
asleep.
that's not a better chance than Brennan Johnson's. So
I disagree. Brennan Johnson, the angle was far more
and
decent than
Garnacho, the
Garnacho.
way Garnacho hit that made you think it was an easier chance than it was because that's a great hit.
No, it's not only that he had so much space, Garnacho. If he just placed it a bit better, he would have scored. He had so much space
What,
and
so
time.
so so what? So what's your overarching criticism
My
then?
my my overarching criticism going back is that every single game is a hypothetical. The Newcastle game,
Yeah.
we played well, we could
Mhm.
have won, but you
Yeah.
lost because
Exactly.
because you always concede chances. The Arsenal game, oh, we dominated possession, but we did nothing. And
Yeah.
then Arsenal knew that you will give every team knows that if they play the right way with you, you will give them at least one big chance in
Mhm.
each game. And Arsenal knew either it's going to be a set piece or a counter attack. We'll let them have the ball. We'll play with a low block and then counter them or score from a set piece.
But the thing,
Exactly. It happened exactly like that.
but the thing is, Stefan, you're talking like teams want to do this. Teams don't want to do this. We're making teams do this. Teams are looking at us saying we can't play this team one on one. If we play this team one on one, we'll probably get beat. Brentford didn't. Brentford's plan wasn't to come to Tottenham and get their ass kicked.
Wait,
Like
so okay.
when we played United, their plan wasn't to be dominated on the ball. So my point is that if you look at what Spurs are trying to do, there's only really Man City, yeah,
Only
who
Man
play
City. So
only Man
you're saying,
City.
wait,
Hold
wait.
on,
So you're
hold on.
saying
Go on.
you're a
I
better
know you don't know
football
what
team.
I'm saying because I haven't even said what I'm saying. So you can't say you're saying. I haven't even said what I'm saying
Okay.
yet. So
Okay.
what I'm saying is Man City's style of play is a unique style of play. In the Premier League, at the top of the league, there isn't another team that plays that specific style of play. Yeah. So I'm saying Spurs are trying to implement that style of play. Right. Now you can say that's not gonna work. Yeah.
It
You
won't.
can say it's a poor style of play. It gives up too many chances. I will say, well, we've only ever seen Man City do this to the best. Nobody else has really tried to implement it over a prolonged
That's
season.
not true, Jay.
No,
Man
it is.
City,
It
no,
is.
no, it's not. Man City adapt and change.
No, right.
I
Listen,
remember. No, no, I
but
remember
Stefan, you're missing the point. Man City's have an overall. When have you ever seen Man City play a low block? Never.
with us when they beat us 3-1 2 years ago when we were.
They played a low block.
Yes, yes, they had 35%
No, listen.
possession. They played
Man
long
City,
ball.
no. But there's a difference between you making Man City have less of the ball and Man City setting out to play in a low block. There is a difference between those two things.
Jay, you just asked me when have Man City changed their style to play in a low
No,
block.
I'm saying they
I
didn't change
gave
their
you a
style.
game.
I'm saying you made them play in a low block. They
No,
did
we
not.
didn't.
Pep,
No, we
Pep
didn't.
did not
They
come out
saw.
and say,
No, we
"Right,
didn't.
lads, we're going to sit deep for Arsenal." Never,
Yes, we
never
were.
that.
Yes, we were
Never.
because
Oh my days. Pep would never set a low block for Mikel Arteta. Are you mad? Are you mad? Pep
have you
Guardiola,
watched? Have you
greatest
watched?
coach of
Have
all
you
time,
watched
is setting up a low block for Mikel Arteta. Listen to yourself.
the last two games at the Emirates when they beat us 3-1 and when we beat them 1-0? They played with a low block. What are
Nah,
you on about?
disagree.
Against Newcastle,
Go on.
towards the end of the game, in the final 15 minutes, Man City had every
Right,
single player behind the ball. What
right.
is
Yeah,
this? What is this
yeah.
notion?
But Stefan, you're mistaking game state with
No, I'm not
expressing
mistaking
structure.
game state. I
Well,
just gave
no.
you two games.
Game state is game state. You know, if you're 1-0 up and you're in the last 5 minutes, and you're gonna go through to the Champions League final, you ain't gonna be bombing forward. Do you know what I mean? It's just that's just logical. I'm not really classifying that. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a bit semanticy to classify that as a team playing a low block or
Wait,
being
Jay.
in that
Let
to
me
the
wait.
context of
Let
the
me.
point.
Okay, I just gave you an example. When they beat us 3-1 at the Emirates, they played long ball down the left channel because that was where Zinchenko was, so he couldn't cover it, and they knew Haaland would be able to run into that space. They had 35% possession,
Yeah,
and
but
they didn't play. And wait, and they didn't play out of the back like they usually do. They played long ball to
right.
Haaland consistently, and they
Okay,
beat us.
so but
And
again,
they beat us using that tactic.
you're conflating here. A tactic to go long to Haaland is not the same as me saying that they're playing a low to mid block. But let's get back to the point that I was trying to make.
But they played a low block.
Tottenham are trying to play a style of play. Yeah, the only Man City have perfected in the Premier League. Only Man City, to the extent that they're winning trophies with that style of play. Right. So
Uh,
it took City 1 year, more or less, to implement this with infinite money and unlimited quality players, plus the best coach in the world. It took them still 1 year to implement this. So I'm saying if it takes Tottenham 2, 3, 4 years with a lower budget, with a coach that isn't as good, I'm like, it's very early for you to be like, I don't back this. No, to me, it's just a case of this is pure evolution of what the team's trying to do. And you're going to see layers as the season goes on. Season on season, you can already see improvements from what Tottenham are doing. I find it funny because there's always data to say that Tottenham are crap, but it's always too early with the data to say Tottenham are quite good. I always find that quite funny with this kind of stuff. Spurs season on season. Last season, beat Everton 3-2. This season, beat them 4. Yeah. Last season, lost to Newcastle.
You still lost to Newcastle, and you
The
still
point
lost
is,
to Arsenal.
and I know this sounds stupid, yeah, and this might sound stupid. We lost better, yeah, and I know that
Oh
sounds
my
silly,
god!
and I know it sounds silly, but the performance versus Newcastle versus last, it was improved. The performance versus Arsenal, you lost 3-2 last season, you lost 1-0 this season. I mean, you still lost, but that's the point. Spurs' performance levels versus the same fixtures that you can look direct they're playing better. You can directly correlate the two fixtures and
Are
say,
they? Are
yes,
they
they are.
playing better? Are they
Absolutely.
okay? You beat your best game, I would say, under the Ange Postecoglou. Your two best games that I've watched you, because the Man United game, I'm gonna put a massive caveat on that because you played against 10 men for over 40.
Why are you gonna put a caveat on it? We drew 2-2
Because
last
because
season. We
because
beat
you
them
played
3-0
against
this
10
season.
men. You played against, let's be honest, a finished team that doesn't believe in
Right.
their coach. Everybody can see that. And you played against 10 men for 40 over 45 minutes. In
What?
my opinion,
What
let
does
me
that change?
but wait, Jay, let me finish. Like I let you talk. Your best game that I have watched, where you truly dominated the game, end to end, the whole 90 minutes, was one game during the season
What was it?
last year, and that was Newcastle at home when you beat them 4-1. Every other game, every other win that I can remember, it could have gone any other way. I
Okay.
remember Brentford at home. 3-2.
Okay.
Brentford had so many chances. I
Okay.
remember
It was
Everton at home when you beat them 3-2 also. Everton should have easily equalized at least
Okay.
towards the end of the game. And in those games now, the 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 Brentford game, the one that you won 3-1 and you deserve, you played better. But at 2-1, Brentford had two golden chances,
Right.
especially one which was a brilliant save from Vicario.
But
And this will not, and that's why I don't believe in the system. I
but
watched this guy go down to 10 men against Karabakh, and if Karabakh had not even a decent finisher, a fucking just a normal player, they would have scored 2 goals in that game.
yeah.
And I watch him play the same way. I watch him lose to Chelsea 4-1 at home and do the same stupid
Okay,
high defensive line that he
but you're
does,
using last
and
season.
people call him genius. People
But
call him
Stefan,
genius.
it's funny because what you're saying is funny because you actually you've already illustrated Spurs are playing much better because the point is that you just said you could only remember 1 or 2 games last season where Spurs outplayed the opposition and comprehensively should have won.
No,
So
I didn't say that.
that's what you said.
No, I
That's what
didn't
you
say
said.
no. I didn't say that,
That
Jay.
is what
I
you
said
said, Stefan.
no. You have outplayed the opposition I said from minute 1 to 90, you were
One,
by far the better
right.
team.
Okay.
In most of your games last season, and you would
Okay.
admit this, you would go in spurts. You would be the better team for 15 minutes. I remember you would score most
Right,
of
but
your
Stefan,
goals.
so you expect full 90-minute domination from teams? That's what you because what you're basically saying is we're not dominating the whole game. So in what world, in the best league in the world, are you expecting Tottenham to be going out dominating for 90 minutes against anybody?
If you,
Even Luton could get 5 minutes against us because it's the Premier League. So why should we be dominating for 90 minutes? Why would I
I'm
even
not
think
saying
my team should be doing that?
yes, of course you cannot be completely dominant in their own half for 90 minutes. But when you're not dominant, my problem is like against Leicester away, Leicester, when you got a bit shell shocked after they equalized. Leicester could have easily scored a second goal if Leicester. Let's be honest. If it wasn't for the Bentancur injury, Leicester were completely
But
on top of that game.
right, but
They
Stefan,
were. They were.
but Stefan, my problem is that you're very unfair with your
Okay, maybe,
criticism because
maybe,
let me
maybe.
just give you a good example. So you said in the Brentford game, yeah, that we
Okay,
gave up great chances to Brentford to equalize.
we
Okay,
did.
that's
Yeah,
what you said.
yeah.
Now I will counter that with in the Spurs Leicester game, before Leicester went 1-1, Spurs had 2 chances in Solanke and Bentancur, hold on,
Yeah.
which were better, yeah, than the Brentford chances that we gave up that you said were great chances. But you don't say that Spurs gave up amazing chances to score the second goal and be out of sight. You criticize us and say that we were poor and Leicester was this and that. But the chances that we gave up to Brentford were inferior chances to those chances, but you
Uh,
still call them very good chances. I'd like you to understand and see why it's difficult for
my,
me when you're being a little hypocritical there because you are using those kind of chances to support your argument versus Brentford and you're not allowing Tottenham to have those chances that they gave up versus Newcastle
yeah.
versus Leicester in the same context.
Okay, Jay. I agree with. I even said that you deserve to win the game against Brentford. I said that before. But what I'm saying is that every game almost feels like it could be a shootout in which you will always concede two or three really, really, really good chances to another team. You say you had good chances. You did. You could have easily scored. But Brentford could have, and it was 2-1 at that point. And the Brentford chance, the point blank header, which was a really good fingertip save from Vicario, that would have made it 2-2. Could you have won the game based on the state of the game and the way it was headed? Of course. But what I'm saying is that you cannot win a league title playing shootouts. You just can't. You cannot outscore the opponent consistently because Liverpool. And I'll give one example: who have far better forwards than you. Last year, Liverpool were exactly like they were a better version of Spurs last year, with of course a better defense because they have Van Dijk, but their attackers would get them out of jail in the first half of the season. They would concede chances, but their attackers were by far the most clinical. However, once January hit and February hit, and some of their attackers, especially Mohamed Salah, went out of form, Liverpool dropped significantly because they kept conceding chances and their attackers weren't in good form and they weren't clinical. So they weren't taking advantage of that. And that's what I think Spurs is in a way. What you do is you're similar to Liverpool, but you just don't have as good of
It's fine.
attackers. And for me, you're never gonna win this way. And just the final thing, just to clarify my point, Ange even said it at the Spurs forum when they asked him about what was it? I think it was about was it at a press conference? I think he said something along the lines when they asked him about defensively and keeping clean sheets. He said, "I don't really care. No, I don't really care." He focused on attacking and said, "My point is that we have to score more goals than the opposition." With
Yeah,
that mindset, Jay,
that's
you're never winning anything with this
so.
because
So my things to you in rebuttal to that, Stefan, is we're a season and 8 games, maybe 9 games into what Andrew's trying to do. So to me, I'm looking at what we're trying to do here and be like, okay, I'm seeing better performances. Like you say, we still give up good chances. Like you say, we don't control the game for 90 minutes, but we are starting to control games for longer and deeper against good teams. So now I've seen us against a number of teams now, and I've seen us control games. Yeah, that doesn't mean teams aren't able to break on us and transition and create opportunities.
so how
But
are
in
you controlling games
but
if teams
what
can still do
by
that?
team, what
If teams can
by
still do that,
what do you mean? You can control a game and get countered. Like that's why it's called
yeah, but
against the run of play. We wouldn't have the term against the run of play if there wasn't a run of play that was occurring in order for it to be against it. Yeah. So of course that can happen. So from my point of view, I don't mind if you criticize Spurs. I'm a fan. You can be a critic. Don't bother me as long as it's fair. And to me, like if you're gonna criticize is what Andrew's trying to do and everything like that, Spurs are just they've got their vision of what they're trying to implement. Give them time to see us against good teams. So far this season, I've seen us play, Newcastle. I've seen us play Arsenal. I've seen us play United. I've seen us play Brentford. Across those game performances, I think Spurs have played pretty well. How many goals have Spurs conceded?
you conceded 2 against Newcastle. You
How many? But how
conceded
many have we conceded, Ash? How many have we conceded this season?
I think the same amount as Arsenal.
Same amount as Arsenal, yeah? So we've conceded the same amount of goals as you, and we play a much more offensive style, yeah? So when you want to talk about defending and things like that, Stefan,
don't do it, Jake.
are you saying that we're broadly defending badly? Are you saying Spurs are switching off?
Yes, you are.
You
You
think
are.
we're defending badly? Okay,
Yes,
why do you think that, Stefan?
you've played two of the teams that you have played, Everton and Leicester, are fucking shit. Man
Okay,
United are really shit, and you played against them with 10 men, so
yeah,
that helped in terms of defending. And
yeah.
even then, you still conceded chances.
How many goals did Leicester score against you?
Oh my! They scored 2 goals from one
Cool.
shot on
Okay, how many
target.
goals did Leicester score against Spurs?
They scored 1.
Okay, so despite Spurs playing a more offensive style than you, yeah, you conceded more goals to Leicester. Now,
How
obviously,
can
to
wait
me,
wait wait?
I'm
How
not going to
do
be so
Spurs
simplistic as to
How
say
do
that's
Spurs play
linear,
more offensive?
but
Wait,
why are Spurs defend? So what metric tells you that Spurs are defending badly and you're
the
defending
fact that
well
you
this season? I've
conceded.
never heard you say that Arsenal are defending badly this season. So I'm just trying to understand. Just trying to understand. Are you putting it down to team quality? Are you putting it down to
No,
other
putting it.
metrics?
I'm watching. I'm watching the game, and I can see if you lose the ball, your system with leaving two center backs at the back is suicidal against teams away from home, Karabakh or whatever.
I'm
Even Leicester. Leicester opened you up. Leicester, Arsenal. You talk about the two goals that Leicester scored. They scored two goals from one shot on target. The other one was a freak volley, which James Justin isn't going to score from another 100 like attempts. It was a
mm,
ridiculous, really
mm,
good goal,
yeah,
and that was it. That was all their against you guys. They didn't create one. Their XG at the end of the game, if you want to talk stats with Leicester, was
sure,
0.2.
okay,
Their XG against you that you say we can concede was higher than your XG. They were
right,
1.3.
yeah.
So you still can. My problem is although you don't concede the amount of shots or per se, you still concede big chances.
Okay,
Every single game.
you know what? When Ash comes back, Ash, I know I can see you backstage. If you want to get the expected goals against, yeah, for both teams, that would be interesting for me to see because I understand what Stefan's saying, but you ignore, say, Villa, for example, who scored no goals and underperformed their XG in their game against you. So it swings and roundabouts and it averages out across the season. I'm just saying to you, yeah, that I'm trying to understand that Spurs, to me, are defending pretty well this season. Definitely not badly. We're definitely not. And if you're going to say we're defending badly, against what metric? Because versus other teams in the Premier League, we are not defending badly. If you want to isolate Spurs and say we're, we're definitely not defending badly compared to other teams in the Premier League. You can't say that we are. There's no evidence
It's
to
not
put
about
that to.
Jay. It's not about defending badly. We have seen this last year. It was the same. He
We
hasn't
defended
changed.
worse last year than we're defending now.
The reason why you know what, I'm not critical of Ange. I don't find him whatsoever threatening to Arsenal. I hope you give him a 10-year contract because I don't rate him. But
Okay.
the same things that you guys did last year, the same obvious mistakes, glaring, the high line, both fullbacks inverted. You do this. It's the same
We don't
stuff.
see we
No,
don't do that.
don't tell me that he changed it because
He has
Udogie played.
changed it.
He
Yeah, he
put
has changed it.
because Udogie played a little bit more left back for fuck's sake in one game. Let's see
Oh,
if
in
he
two
continues.
games. So in the last two games, Udoji's played as a proper left back. Ash, would you like to support that view?
No, he didn't. Against Man United, he kept inverting. That's not
No, he
true.
didn't.
I'm trying to get it out. Say that question again. Sorry.
I'm trying to tell Steph that Udogi played as essentially a traditional left back in the
Yeah,
No.
last two games for Spurs.
last
He's
couple of
not
games.
inverting.
He does invert, but he doesn't stay. He doesn't live there. So
Yeah.
he will switch from inversion, and then he will occasionally play left back. So he
Uh,
doesn't. And then I think it's like a role reverse. So Porro will play in the midfield, then Doggy goes left back, and then vice versa. So
Duran 1-0,
they swap around. They swap around, but yeah, essentially you're seeing a Doggy play a little bit behind whoever's playing in front of him at the moment in the last two games. That is, the last two games.
look. Final thing is, all I'm gonna say is I want to see you guys play a good team away from home now. You've played Arsenal, you've
Played
lost.
Newcastle. You
Yes,
see us play a good
and
team
you've
away.
lost, and you have lost against Newcastle. Now let's see. So you had two of your biggest tests. You have lost in exactly the same way you lost games last year: counterattacks and set pieces. Let's see. Let's see now against Brighton, because last season Brighton could have scored 7 against you guys.
Oh,
They
okay.
broke.
All
I
right.
think they had to fix and change their post after that game, because I
Yeah,
remember
listen,
they hit the post like 3 or 4
that's
times in that
fine,
game.
but Brighton don't have the same manager. They're missing certain players that played in that game. So no, I think
Who
it's
are they missing? Who are they missing?
Gross ain't there anymore. Gilmore ain't there anymore.
Gil.
So
Baleba's better than Gilmore. Come
listen,
on.
my thing is very simply right, and this is a nice transition to the Brighton point. You you rate Brighton, but you don't rate Tottenham. That's silly. Yeah, they play a similar style to us, but inferior. They're tactically not as good as us. We are tactically better than Brighton. We set up better than Brighton.
No.
Yeah. So
Okay. Jay,
So
you
my point
better
is
Jay,
how
you
you
better beat
rated
Brighton,
how
huh?
do you rate Brighton so highly but not Tottenham? It
No,
doesn't make
I
sense.
don't I don't rate Brighton as high.
Yes,
I
you
just
do.
know
Yes,
that
you
the
do. You're
most
constantly raving about Brighton.
no
We
the
even
most
had a you even tried to argue with me about how much better Brighton are. Like, I'm just trying to understand
Bright
this stuff, man.
your away record, Jay, is horrendous.
Right.
The Man United win away from home, apart from Man United, Coventry, Villa, and I think Forest from last season, those are your big away wins from 2024, from like 17 or 8. That's 4 wins in 17. I
Okay.
want to see you because last season Brighton completely destroyed you. So let's see this season. You talk
Bro,
as if
like
you're
what
so much better than
a
Brighton.
different manager with a different tactical setup beat us. I would be amazed, yeah, if because what De Zerbi did to us was a tactical. He nailed us. This manager is not De Zerbi. This manager is not as good as De Zerbi. Let's be honest, yeah. And I'm not sure this manager has within himself the tactical makeup to
Okay.
counter us and set up how De
So
Zerbi
he
set up
can't.
to
So
beat
wait,
us
wait.
up. So
So he doesn't have scouts to see
it's
Spurs
not about
push up.
having scouts. It's De Zerbi's a better manager than him. He can't tactic. I don't know the guy well enough. Maybe he's going to do a masterclass this weekend. But I'm saying De Zerbi tactically did a masterclass on us last time we played Brighton. He set up in a way that really, really killed us. Now, I'm not saying this manager isn't capable of doing the same thing, but I know from what I've seen so far, he's tactically not on the same level as De
Wait,
Zerbi.
wait,
Yeah.
wait. Can I just address Philly Delis, bro? Philly, when you call Wenger a specialist in failure, dude, Wenger has more Premier League titles than your fucking club, man. What are you talking? This is what I mean from your
Stay
fan base.
focused. Stay focused, Stefan.
Like
Stay
it's
focused.
like they have no like awareness of anything. But okay, going back to your point. Okay, but here's the thing. When I look at Brighton, Jay, the
Yeah.
issue I have is that Brighton have one thing that you're really weak on,
Go
and
on.
that they have speed on transitions. Their wingers are rapid.
Okay.
And last time I watched Poro play against, what was his name? The Japanese guy. I forgot his name. Uh,
Matoma.
yeah, Mitoma tore him up.
Yeah.
uh, there should have been a call for emergency care after that game
Yeah.
because Mitoma absolutely destroyed Poro,
Cool. That's
both
fine.
home, both at your ground and away.
You did.
So I'm intrigued to see, and that's why Jay, you can prove me wrong. You can say, "See, Stefan,
That,
fuck you,
that's
you were wrong."
yeah.
Let's see the Brighton game because last season Brighton they destroyed you at home, and your away record is still not
Absolutely, they
good.
did. They did.
Your away, and let's see if you have developed because
No problem,
let's
Stefan. I have no issue with you laying it out like that. That's fair to me. I'm gonna counter that with the fact of I've seen Brighton against United. I've seen Brighton against Chelsea. I think they're a false image. I know the underlyings look good, so I'm gonna respect them. But on the flip side, like if they want to try and pass the ball around at the back, against the best pressing team in the league. And that's not me trying to big up Spurs. It's honestly not. I'm not trying to big Spurs up. I'm saying we are the best pressing side in the league. That's a statement of fact. So if you're loose with the ball, like the way they played the ball against Chelsea, if they try that against us, they're gonna be turning the ball over. Yeah, whether we punish them, but I'm saying they're gonna be coughing the ball up to us. So my thing is that when I've watched us play against teams that actually want to come out and play, yeah, come out and play against us, and we're cutting you up. So my point is, Newcastle played low block, Arsenal played low block. Yeah, hey, if Brian play a low block, that's going to be a shock to me. So to me, they're coming out to play.
Have you ever thought that those teams don't want to play a basketball match? They know.
Absolutely, but Brighton are going to come and play basketball with us, and that's fine because we will beat them at basketball. That's my point.
Okay, I mean,
So,
let's
where do you
see.
guys think who finishes who? Where do you think, Stefan, that Brighton finish above Spurs?
Brighton is my dark horse for top four. So yes,
And you think that Brighton also beat Spurs on the weekend?
yes, I think Spurs get a. It reminds me a lot of this type of kind of this vibe that I'm getting from Spurs and just everything. Reminds me of when you beat Villa 4-0, and then I think you went away to Fulham the next week and got de-
Yeah,
destroyed there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I get the same feeling. But let's see. I mean, you have done better at the away grounds. at the matches that you lost last year, but you still lost those games. And yeah, you have lost better, as Jay says, but just because teams give you the ball and let you have it doesn't mean that you're good. They know you're
Do,
not
do,
effective. Like
do you think,
Arsenal,
do you
you
think
did
this younger
nothing.
manager? Sorry to cut you. Do you think this younger manager will out tactically
I
masterclass?
I was yeah I was I'm of a different opinion to Jay on this young manager because I watched him against Arsenal and I was far more impressed with him than the
In the Tottenham game?
De Zerbi, because De Zerbi played only one way and he played with a high against Chelsea. I don't know what happened. I mean, Lewis Dunk was Chelsea's best player in that game. He is horrendous, but um, I watched him against Arsenal and he changed things three times during the game. He changed the midfield. He changed the way that they played with a much deeper block at first against Arsenal. Was it because Arsenal were really good in the first half? Maybe, but I can see a change. Whilst with De Zerbi, I remember when he came to the Emirates and when we played